Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to positivepower21.org and Spreaker.com/positivepower21. You're listening to Inspirational Vibes with Sabrina.
Hello, and welcome to the Inspirational Vibe with Sabrina, a part of the Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Network at positivepower21.org. Thank you for listening to the segment today. Today we're going to be delving in with being the salt of the earth. There's a scripture reference to being the salt of the earth in Matthew chapter 5 verse 13, where it talks about the fact that if we are not being the salt of the earth, then we lose our savor and are worth being thrown out. That scripture reference always makes me think of what we're doing to impact others and what we're doing to add meaning to our lives and to the world at large. It really makes me think of the things that we can be doing to add to the life of others and add to our own lives, because it is so fulfilling and rewarding to be able to give back and contribute to others. So today I just want to talk about different ways that we can be salting the earth and adding life and vigor to those that we love and to our world and abroad. And just a couple of things come to mind. There are so many ways that we can give back, so many ways that we can donate our resources and our time. It doesn't always have to be money. Of course, if money is no object to you, then it is very good to give money to local charities or nonprofit organizations that have a meaningful impact in society. Or if you want to create your own nonprofit, something that you may not see getting enough attention, and you want to create those venues yourself or those avenues that can be of assistance to other people. But if money is an object to you, if you don't necessarily have a lot of money to spare, there are still ways that you can do to impact and give back to others. One of the different things that you can do is to mentor or tutor a child. There are some of us who have acquired a lot of education ourselves or may have done well in school. One of the ways that you can help is by mentoring or tutoring a child. I know that there are some friends of mine who are heavily involved in mentoring. One of my friends comes to mind in the Philadelphia area. He's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and he often gives back. He often mentors these different children in his area, and it just means so much seeing his post all the time. His name is Ryan McLeod. Just the way that he gives back on a continuous basis. I remember he posted a picture the other day showing him and a group of young black guys. He was showing them how to actually tie a tie. It could be something that simple, but it really reaches and inspires the lives of others. And there were a group of them, and they showed the pictures of the ties around their necks, showed a picture of them doing it, and then showed a picture of the finished project where the child actually did it themselves. But it has so much impact and so much meaning just in those pictures to see, because we know that there was so much time and networking and communicating with those children. And who knows what other topics or what other things may have come up in those sessions with the children on that particular day. So mentoring and tutoring children is very important. Another friend of mine, Tony Presley, in Kingstree, South Carolina, he is an educator. He recently became a teacher in Williamsburg County, and he also tutors for free in his local community, because he believes that no child should be left behind, and those children who need additional educational assistance should be provided for. And he always encourages other people to tutor children as well. And I think it means so much. When I was working at Millens Technical College in Columbia, South Carolina, they had a lunch buddy program connection with Springdale Elementary. And it would be my favorite Monday of the month to participate in the lunch buddy program. all of the kids knew me, not only my buddy, but all of the other buddies, because they knew when Sabrina came in, we were going to guarantee to play some Uno, and all of them wanted to play Uno against me because I had no mercy on them. I talked trash like these were adults, but I made it fun for them, and I always rooted real hard for my particular lunch buddy. So after I won, then I wanted my buddy to win after that. But we've had so much fun doing it, and they would laugh and tease me like, I'm gonna play you today, I'm gonna play you, and I'm gonna beat you, like soon as they saw me, those would be the first words out of their mouths. And when it came around for Christmas and their birthdays, we would ask permission to give them little gifts just to show tokens of appreciation to the children, just to show them that we actually cared about them. Using that 30 or 40 minutes of that particular day, just to use our lunch break to go and mentor to them, it added so much meaning to them, because sometimes they may not have a visit, or they may not have a lot of people in their lives to show that they care like that. So those children really look forward to those things. And because children mean so much to us, they are our future. They are the ones who will be running our countries in the long run. We want to pour into them and just show them that we care. So if there's a way that you could mentor or tutor or help impact the life of a child, it is always good to do that. Another thing that we can do is to visit the sick and shut in, and I'm so guilty of this myself. There's a very special cousin that I need to go and visit right now, and others that I know that are in the hospital, but the sick and shut in are always among us. It is so vitally important that we take some time out just to visit and fellowship with them, pray with them, let them know that we're thinking about them, give them a call if we can't go by and visit, just to let them know that they are in our prayers and our thoughts, and we are praying for their recovery. So visiting the sick and shut in, being a part of that, letting them know that we're there, taking things by, because sometimes it can be as simple as wanting something to eat, or wanting a change of clothes, or just wanting little simple things. Helping check the mail for them while they're in the hospital or something like that. It could be something so easy that we can do just to show that we are still there for them. Also, another way that we can do is just to become involved with charities. There are a number of charities and nonprofits in the world. Many of them have very vital impact and very vital missions that they give back to in different ways. So if you do the research or know of some charities that you can become involved in, or nonprofits that you can support, that's always a good thing. There are many large ones and there are many small ones. Some of my friends have recently started some themselves. I know that my friend Tara Adams in Columbia, South Carolina, she has a nonprofit for her lupus, and as well as Jade, my friend Jade in the Augusta area. She also has a nonprofit, Crowning Lupus, for her lupus, because both of them are lupus survivors. So they have nonprofits where they actually give back to the community and tell their stories on a continuous basis, and help support others with lupus, and even helping to give scholarship for lupus survivors and lupus children of survivors and things of that nature. So it is so many different nonprofits and so many different charities out there that we can support. Of course, there are always the larger ones like Goodwill, for example, always comes to mind, because Goodwill, like a lot of people think, oh, you just go there and donate your items. But they also turn around and do so much with those donations. They have a program where I think like non-felons can go there and try to get employment. So they have a partnership where they actually try to get those who may have some type of criminal activity on their records. They try to find jobs for them, because as we know, if you have something on your record, it can be harder for you to find employment after that. So Goodwill have those type of training programs. They also help those who don't have employment to seek employment, other people who don't have employment, and they help them foster their skills, like building resumes and how to conduct themselves in interviews. Goodwill does all of those types of things with those donation dollars that you receive. So they do a lot with the clothes that we may send down to them. Also, another charity that I am a big fan of, and this kind of gets into one of the other things that I wanted to mention, donating blood or becoming an organ donor. The Red Cross, when you go and give that 1 pint of blood, it saves so many lives. Friends of mine have recently been in the hospital and they have had to receive blood. One of my friends I know who has a heart condition, and another one I know who has a condition with her own blood. She recently had to have blood, receive blood while in the hospital. So you never know what impact that 1 pint can have. And in the summertime, I know that they talk a lot about the fact that they have shortages with the blood donation just because of all of the recent activities or all of the increase in accidents and different things like that happen in the summertime. And we never know. We can be up today and down tomorrow. So there may be a time when we go in the hospital where we may actually need blood. So giving blood at the Red Cross and at these different sites that may actually have blood drives can mean so much to those suffering, those who may need it while being going under different medical procedures and things of that nature. You never know. And becoming an organ donor is so important. After we leave this world, our body is going to return back to the dust. It's not going to do us any good to hold on to the organs that we have. And you never know what can impact the organs that you have. We may be healthy one day and sick the next. There are different viruses and different things of that nature that can attack our organs and attack our bodies. And it can cause our organs to fail, the young and the old. So you never know. So becoming an organ donor really can save the life of someone else. One of my first lady in Columbia, South Carolina, Sister Collins, she actually gave one of her organs to her daughter. And I thought that was so meaningful and so impactful. And I remember on my birthday about 2 years ago, I encouraged some of my friends to become organ donors during my birth month because I wanted to just encourage people to do that and to give blood. And it was so meaningful when some of my friends were posting pictures of their new organ donor cards or their new stamp on their license to show that they had become an organ donor, or a sticker of them giving blood during my birth month of September. It meant so much to me. And as a heart disease survivor, that means a lot to me as well. I know a couple of people who have had transplants, be it heart or kidney, and a couple of those who have had to have lung operations. So you just never know what kind of organ can fail or what may happen to your bodies. So becoming an organ donor really can save the lives of others. And again, I just encourage us to do that. So that's another way that we can salt this earth and give back and provide meaning. It doesn't cost us anything. It's just an act of kindness that can be extended throughout generations, because you never know who will be blessed by that donation that you give. Also, another way that comes to mind is setting up collection programs at your jobs or at your church. I see sometimes like Harvest Hope in Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm sure it's in other areas around the state of South Carolina and probably throughout the U.S. as well. They collect food for those who are less fortunate. And during certain parts of the year, it is even harder, because there are more people coming in for those supplies. probably a lot during the summer month when children are out of school, and those people who may not have a lot of financial resources may experience more hardships with feeding their families. So during those types of periods, during the holidays and things of that nature, but just year round, we know we always have the homeless and those who need additional foods just to make it and to survive. So Harvest Hope is one of those types of charities. So you can actually set up a bin at your job, and all it takes is a big cardboard box, and encourage your coworkers to bring canned goods and non-perishable food items to collect. Or during the winter months, you may collect gently worn coats, sweaters, and blankets, again, to those who may be homeless or those who may be in shelters and need these types of things just to help them survive and go through those periods where they may need these resources. So it can be something that simple. And how many times have we actually passed those types of things in the grocery store? Sometimes the grocery stores themselves will have those things set up. Or another business or organization that you may visit may have those collection sites set up. So when you see those kind of things, allow it to prick your heart and say, I'm going to participate somewhere. Because we usually have some type of canned good in our cabinet that we're not using. It reminds me of my friend Craig King. He has a, he just gives back phenomenally. He is my lead example of a servant to all mankind. And I remember at one particular thing that he had, it was a collection drive. One of his friends actually feeds the homeless in our area, and he was collecting foods and canned goods for them. And I remember him picking at me because he said that my carrots were old. And we laughed and laughed and laughed about those carrots. And even today, if I just bring up the carrots to him, he will know exactly what I'm talking about and laugh at me about my canned goods or whatever. So it could be something that you're not necessarily using, because I don't use those that often or whatever. But if you have something that you can give to these types of organizations, do that. Bless other people who may be in need. So those are a lot of different things you can do. Setting up collections, just collect these items for others and then turning it over to those charities that you know are going to put them to good use. Also, it can be something like donating old cell phones or used goods. I know a lot of times Verizon and a lot of domestic violence type organizations that support domestic violence victims, they collect cell phones so that those people can be able to call 911 in case of an emergency, or use those cell phones to, just to call out in case they didn't have one before. So a lot of them will give them to old veterans who may have fell on hard times since being out of the military and things of that nature. So a lot of organizations put those types of things to good use. And, we upgrade, or a lot of us upgrade our cell phones every year. Sometimes we may upgrade them once or twice, even during the same year, multiple times. So if you have used cell phones, take the data off of them and allow other people to use them, because you never know what something so simple can mean to somebody else in need who can't afford it themselves. Also, another good way that we can add salt to the earth and just give back and be meaningful is just to use our misfortunes to help support others. Previously in the broadcast today, I talked a little bit about two of my friends who developed lupus charities, nonprofits that they use to give back. They didn't allow their lupus diagnosis to make them a complete victim or someone who couldn't live beyond that diagnosis. They actually charged back at the disease. One of my friends, Lee Lambert, in the low country part of the state of South Carolina, she has a son with CHARGE syndrome, but she allowed that to help her become an advocate for children with disabilities, and she works for a local organization that supports those types of children who may have disabilities. And she advocates for them in every area that she can. And she goes to these different charge conferences just to gain more insight about what she can do to others. And it amazes me, they have this little doll that they call Charlie. They send it around the world to different families of children who have charge syndrome. And charge syndrome is something so serious that I encourage you just to pull it up on Google and look. Charge syndrome, like you're charging at someone. It is just absolutely amazing, all of the different conditions that it affects in the body, from the heart to the hearing to the mouth to their eyes. Her son has had to have at least 3 heart surgeries, and I think it's much more than that, and is still faced with some medical decisions to be made about his life and those types of things. So it is just amazing, all the conditions that are out there. But I love the fact that she's so passionate about not letting it get them down. And I'm sure that she has her days where she just wants to ball up. But just the strength that she has to overcome it and then still be an advocate and help others who are experiencing the same types of things just to go through it. And she's just so encouraging and inspiring. My friend Craig King, that I mentioned, who had rejected my canned goods that particular day and said that my carrots were old. One of the things that is so beautiful about him is that he had cancer when he was a child. I think that it came upon him in his teenage years, and he went to Camp Chemo, and it really helped him to overcome the disease while he was going through his treatments and everything like that. He talks about the Camp Chemo experience and what it meant for his life as a child just to overcome it. And he vowed that if he were to live and become a 10-year survivor, he was going to start giving back. And when I tell you he gives back in the most royal ways, I have never seen such a humanitarian at such a young age, because he's still in his 30s. But he has an Adopt-A-Highway in Manning, South Carolina. He supports the canned goods through the Friends of Craig Friends of Craig organization that he has developed. So he collects canned goods. He goes around and he speaks to these different organizations, because he used to be a high school teacher. Now he works for an education organization in Columbia, South Carolina. But it is just on and on. And he also is a Camp Chemo counselor, because he vowed that the same love and vigor and energy that they poured into him as a kid with cancer, he's going to do that for others. And he shows pictures, and he gets so excited on Facebook when he is about to go to these Camp Chemo sessions, and he just shows all of the different pictures with the children who he has impacted through the years, and he shows some of them growing up. And he also has a cancer gala that he has every other year. And I was able to go to one, I think that was last year in October. And when I tell you, it was so beautiful, the ambiance that was there. Just seeing all of the support that he had. They call it Team King, where they rally together. They put on different fundraising events throughout the year, barbecue dinners, and all of these different kind of things, yard sales I think they even have in Manning, South Carolina, just to raise money for cancer research. And then he has this gala every other year. The food was good, the music was good. We had to purchase our tickets, but all of the proceeds went back to the cancer research programs that they had in that area. I think Cancer for Relay. But it was just phenomenal just to see how he didn't allow his misfortune as a child, that medical condition, to hinder him or allow him to become bitter. He allowed it to use it for good later on in life. And it encouraged me to do the same thing. So I charge all of us to use these types of things, these types of impacts, these types of of what can be a misfortune, we can turn it around for good and say, since I overcame it, since it didn't kill me, since it didn't destroy me, I'm going to use that to allow me to sprinkle some salt on the earth in some other type of way. So I encourage all of us to do these types of things, because you never know what it can mean to other people. You never know what kind of impact it can have on the lives of others. And if we are not salting the earth, the Bible says that it means that we can be thrown out. So I take that to mean, even though that scripture may have not meant that, but just my own spin on it is just that if we are not giving back, if we are not using our talents for goods and trying to impact others in some way, again, you don't have to be rich. You don't have to have a lot of time. All it takes is just a little bit. You never know what that can mean to someone else. Sometimes the things that we give, we may not even see that person. If you go and give that pint of blood, you're not going to know who's in that hospital bed receiving that pint of blood. But someone is. It's always put to good use. If you turn in your own cell phone, you're not going to know that domestic violence victim who actually received it. But when she goes to call 911, it's going to mean saving her life on that night where she may have been threatened or endangered or could have died. So you never know who you can be helping when you salt the earth. When we go and mentor children and give back an hour or 2 hours throughout the week just to help show them that we care. When we go and mentor them and tutor them and just love on them in that particular time, you never know what kind of impact it could be making. I had a friend of mine, whose child was transitioning a lot last year, and she gave me a call up and said that she needed some help with her son in math. And I told her, sure, I'd be glad to. And we did. And I met him a couple of times in the library, and it meant so much for her to tell me later on that, he had caught back up, because he had changed schools that year and he just kind of fell behind a little bit. So he was able to catch back up after our few sessions together, and I think he did well after that particular time that year. So you never know what it can mean to somebody else. And I remember the smile that he used to have on his face and thank me so much just for taking that time. And you just never know what that can mean. You never know what the children that Tony Presley is affecting in King Street, South Carolina, or impacting and nourishing through his tutoring sessions is going to mean to them later on. It may mean that particular subject that was kicking their butt and almost making them fail in that particular year, they can later excel at. And it can mean they graduate instead of quit their senior year or junior year because it just got too tough for them. So you never know what that impact can mean. You never know when you sign up for lunch buddy programs what those elementary and middle school children can go and do later on, because they usually pull children in who they think could benefit from that additional nourishment or that additional support the most. So those children may not have the best of homes or the best of social skills. So those guidance counselors select those children. So when they have those smiles just to see you, just to see that someone is taking an hour out of that particular month just to come and sit and have lunch and play games with them or read stories to them, just love on them in various ways, you never know what's that going to mean for them later on. The same thing, you may not see the homeless person or the person who doesn't have enough resources to feed their 2 or 3 children that month. You may not see them pick up that donation from Harvest Hope, but your canned goods could actually save their life that week. Or it could give them enough hope that because of this donation, I'm going to make it. Because next month I may have a financial increase or a better paying job. But this month we're hungry. So this month I appreciate that particular bag of food that I got from the Harvest Hope. So your donation can make that possible. So I encourage you to salt the earth. Do good. Do kind. Do good for other people. You never know what it can mean in the lives of others. Otherwise, we're living this life in vain. If you're not giving back, if you're not helping the life of someone else, then it's kind of like you're living in vain. There are some selfish people out there. There are people who only care about themselves. And a lot of times, if things aren't going well in their world, then they're miserable. But oh, the joy of giving back to somebody else. Oh, the joy of making another person's day, putting a smile on an elderly person's face who may be in a nursing home and not receive regular visits from their friends or family because they may not have many or they may not have any who actually reach out to them. Oh, the joy. So if that person can be you, then do it. Find ways to salt the earth. I encourage you. Be blessed. This is Sabrina Brown, and I'm out, and you've been inspirationally vibed.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to positivepower21.org and Spreaker.com/positivepower21. You're listening to Inspirational Vibes with Sabrina.